Hi, my name's James Knott, and I am riding my bike from Washington, D.C. to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I want to tell you a little bit about it. Last September, my father-in-law, Karl Kortlandt, and I took a great bike trip together. The C&O Canal Towpath and the Great Allegheny Passage meet up in Cumberland, Maryland to create a 325-mile continuous trail. Two unique things about this adventure are that the route is mostly off-road and very flat.
Hello!
The towpath begins in the Georgetown neighborhood of Washington, D.C. and travels over 180 miles. It was once used by mules to pull boats along the C&O Canal. It is a National Historic Park, and as you travel along you see remnants of the canal's history, boats, locks, lockhouses, aqueducts, and bridges. We're on day 2 of our trip. We did 55 miles yesterday. We're going to do 60 miles or so today, and already I feel like a big, dirty, smelly mess. I can't wait to take a shower. About every 5 to 10 miles there's a free primitive campsite along the trail with a porta potty and a pump for well water. The canal is no longer used and has been reclaimed by the forest in many places. There is an abundance of wildlife including deer, otters, turtles, snakes, wild turkeys, and more. You are riding through bear country, but we never got to see any bears. Well, it's day 3 and we're heading to Cumberland, Maryland. Today is our longest day of mileage. We're trying to set ourselves up for the climb from Cumberland to the Continental Divide tomorrow, which will be our hardest day of climbing. Regardless of which way you travel, the first half of the trip is spent slowly climbing uphill to the Eastern Continental Divide, and the second half is spent slowly descending away from it. When you reach Cumberland, you meet up with the Great Allegheny Passage, which is over 140 miles long. This trail used to be an old railroad line. The engineers were challenged to forge a path that was flat enough for a full locomotive to climb through the Allegheny Mountains.
On our way up to Frostburg.
In order to make this work, they built huge bridges over valleys and carved long tunnels through the mountains. Well, it's day 4 and we are doing the big climb from Cumberland up to Frostburg. And it's a slow 2% grade, and despite all the horror stories, it's not so bad. You just slow down a little bit and it's totally doable.
All right, it's all downhill from here.
You got another mile yet.
Huh?
Another mile yet.
Camping is a little more sporadic along this section of the journey. There is a mixture of private and public campgrounds that occur about every 10 miles. Showers and restaurants are easier to come by though. We went out of our way to eat at local establishments to experience the area's culture. Well, we're approaching the end of our second to last day of riding, almost into Connellsville, Pennsylvania, where we're planning to set up camp for the night, hang out in this town for a couple hours, and wake up in the morning and ride on to Pittsburgh. The Great Allegheny Passage portion is scenic, but a little more developed and industrialized than the C&O. There are less opportunities to spot wildlife, but there are also more signs of civilization, which can be good at the end of a long ride. Karl and I have ridden the trail both ways now, and we prefer to ride from DC to Pitt. The end of the trail finishes across the river from downtown Pittsburgh at Station Square. Make sure you visit atatrail.org for more information about the trail and to plan your journey. I'm James Knott. I hope to see you on future adventures.